Just a quick note, for those of you who are interested in this Georgetown deal, where you have a couple of professors that got into trouble for comments made on a private Zoom call, there are some resources here that you may want to be aware of. This is The Spectator. It's a typically conservative journal, but they have an article here called Georgetown's Sad Decline into Affirmative Action Madness. And this was produced on March 12th, 2021, and they talk about some of Georgetown's admission numbers and how they compare across racial categories. And it's pretty clear that The Spectator is making a very strong claim that Georgetown's admissions are very heavily influenced by affirmative action. Another paper that you might want to take a look at, this is titled, Does Affirmative Action Reduce the Number of Black Lawyers? And so I thought I would go ahead and read the abstract to this. Richard Sanders' study of affirmative action at U.S. law schools highlights a real and serious problem. The average black law student's grades are startlingly low. With the exception of traditionally black law schools, where blacks still make up 43.8% of the student body, the median black law school grade point average is at the 6.7th percentile of white law students. This means that only 6.7% of whites have lower grades than 50% of blacks. One finds a similar result at the other end of the distribution, as only 7.5% of all blacks have grades that are higher than the white median. Given these low grades, it should not be surprising that black students are less likely to graduate from law school and less likely to pass the bar. In fact, in the LCAC data, 83.2% of whites graduated and passed the bar within 5 years of entering law school, while only 57.5% of blacks entering law schools became lawyers. Sanders has made an important contribution by simply bringing national attention to the racial disparities in law school grades and bar passage rates. This represents another instance of the pervasive pattern of observed black-white disparities in health, occupational, and educational outcomes. Now, you might think, well, what kind of racist wrote that kind of drivel? Well, here is the author, Richard Brooks. The other one was named Ian Ayres. I didn't even bother looking him up because with the name of Ian, you can almost bank on the fact that he's English. But here is Richard Brooks, the racist Klansman who authored this article that is so demeaning to blacks. And I will say it again, you can't solve your problems unless you first identify them. And if affirmative action is hurting black students from becoming lawyers, then that needs to be identified and acknowledged. To fire people simply because they're making note of the students in their class and their performance is completely untoward. As I said before, I don't think that the professor should have been fired for her comments, but rather for publishing them publicly. Press like and subscribe to my channel.